Hello and welcome to, believe it or not, episode number 20 of
Whoop,
Social
whoop.
Selling for Newbies.
Wow.
Right.
20. Hey, we
Right.
got there.
Hey, next
Pretty
week we're
good.
going to be of age. We're going to be of drinking age, 21.
We should have drinks next week.
I think so. There has to be a different format here. So anyway, I'm
We
here.
sound like such Americans that way. Got to wait till you're 21 to drink.
So Tom Burton here with my awesome co-hosts, Brandon and Carson. Did you get that? Make sure that that was really clear.
Got that. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, so I'm getting better. You know, it's
You take
number 20
feedback
now.
well, Tom.
Yeah, I get feedback really well. So Brandon, do you want to kick us off with, some funny or maybe not so funny dad joke? We need to do
Yeah,
something
let me
to
think.
kick off.
Yes, ready?
Yes.
I went to the doctor the other day and he said, "Don't eat anything fatty." And I said, "What? You mean like burgers?" And he said, "No, fatty. Don't eat anything."
Love it.
All right. Well, that wraps up episode 20. I hope everybody enjoyed it. That was on the
You did
show.
great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So
Yep.
no, we
I
have
think
actually.
I think, by the way, when I said that to my family, I think I literally heard my daughter's eyes roll.
I thought that one was better than normal.
See, I never appreciated dad jokes when I was younger, and now, like, I love them. We turn into our parents. It's so weird. Like, my dad had art of the dad joke as a kid, and I always like rolled my eyes, but now I live for them. So
yeah, hey, it's a rite of passage, and I think that you know what, I'm gonna ruin this for their branding department. But what's the company has the commercials about coaching people to not become their parents?
I've just saw
insurance companies.
that recently.
Yeah,
is it Geico or State Farm? One of the two.
Yeah, one of those. Progressive, somebody. Their marketing department is just beating themselves up right now. Tom, we'll let you get back on track.
Yeah, we have I think a really fun, interesting show today because we're going to talk about technology and tools. And if you're on listening live, please jump in and ask questions or tell us even about some of your favorite tools along the way.
Hey, people are helping us out. It's progressive.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan.
David and Jonathan.
There you go. And David.
So where are you seeing? I'm not seeing anything on our stream here at this point. Are you seeing something on your end?
Yeah, it's on your right side. You got 3 menu options over there. You got to choose the one for chat.
Yeah, I have
Don't
that.
put it on the screen.
Yeah, there's just nothing on there. It's just nothing showing up. Anyway, so yeah, if stuff comes in, please let us know because I can't see them. So
you got it.
Yes. So everybody listening to the podcast right now is going, "What the heck are these clowns doing?"
Yeah, we're going to talk about technology.
Yeah, and we've done this 20 times, and we can't get the chat to figure out.
Oh, David and Jonathan, hang in there with us. I don't know what's going on today. Full moon, something.
Maybe we should start drinking on this episode.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
So Brandon, what we're going to do is we want to talk about our favorite tools that we use for social selling. And kind of how we use them, right? It's not about just what they are, but how we use them and why we like them. So Brandon, why don't you kick us off with, one of your favorite tools that you use?
Well, I'm gonna take an easy way out for starts, and then I'll share some of my other ones. But honestly, one of my favorite tools is just my phone. And here's the reason why. And I don't mean to downplay it, but look, there's so many cool things that we can do with our phones, right? Well, number one, turn on your notifications. So every time somebody comments or likes or does something on a post that you've commented on or liked or on one of your posts, you can see it. And I'm not saying go live in LinkedIn, but it keeps you from, it keeps you getting in. And I like to take moments throughout my day to go respond to comments because I don't want people sitting there thinking they spoke and I didn't respond because it's really awkward when you have silence like that, right? So, the other thing I do with it is I think of things or I walk out of meetings or something, I can pull out my phone and go live or go record and just share, hey, this is what I'm learning. This is what is going on. And, I have Canva app on there. So I suck at graphics, but Canva makes it look like I do a much better job than I could. So I think honestly, just the versatility of our phones is probably the most important one overall. It keeps me connected with people. I can post from it. I can comment on it. I'm going to start there. I know it's an easy one, but I promise I got better ones to share.
Do you use voice and stuff like voice to text on your phone for commenting and things like that? And does it work well, or do you, use it old fashioned and type it in?
Yeah, I'm old fashioned and type it in. I got to deal with fat finger syndrome. And so sometimes I got to slow myself down to make sure that I actually read it and edit. And at least then I can one tap it. It usually auto corrects. But if I'm in a hurry, I find myself putting in, go responding real quick. And then I see it and I'm like, gosh darn it, got to go edit it and fix it. But no, I don't do talk to text. I mean, maybe it's gotten better. Um, but I just found too many errors.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't feel like I take advantage of my phone very much for as much as I could. So I think there's probably a lot of things that can be done, as you're saying, on the phone that to just make the process easier and more efficient. I
Yeah.
tend to do too much on the desktop.
Yeah, so we're getting some cool comments coming in. We'll have to make some time to respond to those. Keep them coming, everybody, and we'll get to those. I want this one handwrite notes. Customer, we got to jump into that. I want to hear more.
All right. Carson, give us one of yours. What's one of your favorites?
Yeah. First off, echo Brandon, definitely as you're watching today, throw in your must-have tools, your social selling toolkit, because I'm here just as much to learn as I am to evangelize some of the stuff that I'm using. I think it's pretty incredible because I think back over the years and some of the things that I've leveraged, and things move in and out. And I always tell people about social selling, like your mechanism, your kind of your strategy is going to be personalized to you. I mean, you're going to gravitate towards certain tools, you're going to have things move in and out, you're going to find different ways to use the same tools that other people are using. I got to obviously go for the big the big whammy right here. I'm going to just go right into LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, right? So first off, full disclosure, I mean, obviously I work for the company that owns them. This isn't an endorsement, but I will tell you that, I mean, I've generated over $300 million that wouldn't have existed without connections on LinkedIn. So that's been key. I'm going to talk about a few other tools during the conversation today and some of the different ways that you can set up kind of your toolkit. But LinkedIn was foundational for me. And I've shared on this show before why. I was always hearing problem from our leadership being, hey, we need more customer relationships. We need these line of business executive relationships. We've talked a lot on this show about LinkedIn and some of the different ways that it can be utilized. So I'm not going to go into full depth from that perspective. But I will say the reason why it's number one in my toolkit, it's because that is where I've been able to build community around what I've done, whether I've been at a consultant firm, whether I've been at retail organizations, or whether I've been at a very large organization in multiple different roles. It has helped me find people, meet people, get meetings, connect, stay top of mind, create and nurture relationships, and ultimately, continue to engage through things like newsletters and some of the other innovations that have happened as a result of that platform. So that and Sales Navigator for me are numero uno.
Would you say that, do you use Sales Navigator, like, I guess, all the time, or are you using that to kind of drive a lot of what you're doing on the LinkedIn side?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I mean, I'll jump ahead here too, because one of the other, a couple of the other tools that I leverage are kind of as a result of, how I leverage these, right? So Sales Navigator, you can create a very cultivated news feed, with the folks that you follow. I can see when there's M&A activity with my customers. I can see when there's a new executive that started with one of my customers. That's the kind of intel that I react and respond to. I'm going to reach out to that executive. I'm going to get in their office before any of my competitors do. That helps me, first off, establish a relationship and ultimately win business that wouldn't have existed otherwise. That's where I point to some of the large dollar figures. But the other things, like some of the other tools that are like an add-on to that, I leverage a Humantic AI. I'm an advisor there today, and it's a plugin with LinkedIn where I can go in and I can go to anyone's profile and it can tell me their basically it does a disc personality assessment of them based on all of their posts. Within 30 seconds, it will analyze everything and it will tell me, are they the same? Do they buy the same way I sell? Or are they the opposite? And how should I approach them? It's incredible the way AI complements and augments our strategy as sellers. I leverage a CRM tool called Octopus, and it's a CRM that does some LinkedIn automation. Now you got to be careful with those because you don't want to spam the world and pitch slap with it, but it does enable you to connect. It does enable you to evangelize events and things of that stature in a new way. So I leverage a lot of these tools around LinkedIn, and I explore different things that are add-ons to LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. I use Sales Navigator every day, whether it's looking at the feed or feeding some of these other tools.
And the feed and some of the stuff you're using on Navigator, is that only available with some of the high-end enterprise version, or are you taking advantage of a lot of those enterprise functions on the Navigator side?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's multiple different layers, that you can invest in based on what your role consists of. I have a premium subscription today, and so that does enable me to do a lot of the the search, the geo targeting, the messaging, and things of that nature. Now, I find the best experience messaging people using LinkedIn proper, right? Just sending the connection requests or engaging with their feed. But that's the thing. You got to find your sweet spot of using these tools. I'm not going to hit the 5-iron the same way Tom and Brandon are. So I might hit it farther, but probably not as accurately, right? So, that's the key thing. You got to figure out how you can make these tools work for you.
Nope, totally right.
Sorry,
right,
the cat decided that she wanted to be on the podcast today.
That is the second show in a week that I've been on where a cat has jumped into the frame. That's amazing. I can go grab mine if it helps.
It's kind of cold, and so my office is in the basement. So I chose to work upstairs, and then the cat thinks, "Ooh, warm lap." So here we are. Hey, Tom? I know it's your turn. Can I say something about Navigator on there too? Because number one, I didn't add Navigator to my list because I knew Carson would set that up because the whole Microsoft thing. But I think that the premium. I tell people, look, there's advantage to the premium, but not everybody has to get it. But I'll just echo Carson and then hand it off to you, Tom. If you're not at least looking at Navigator and the tools that it can offer to you, especially for Intel, and just your research and know what's going on, you should take a look at it. And then my second tool that I'm going to say after Tom is really designed around gathering intel and knowing what people are doing and what they need.
Definitely. So my first choice today is very trendy, and it's Chat GPT.
Of course you're going to go there.
Yes.
Thank you.
But
I just saw my stock go up.
Yes. I don't know is that all because of Chat GPT? Man, that has been amazing.
We can have a separate conversation about the investments and impact there, but
yeah,
that's definitely a top of mind thing for us right now. Yes.
Yeah, no, I've seen. So where I've been using it and I found it to be remarkably effective is with hashtag research. So you can go in there, and if you just said, for example, what are some good hashtags associated with social selling, it will come back with a really, really good and thorough list on hashtags. And it goes out and says, these are the most popular ones. These are the ones that are used. Wow. And then I went one step further, and I think I'm not convinced that this is working perfectly. We'll find out. I said, well, how does that differ? Like, would you recommend different hashtags for TikTok versus LinkedIn, for example? Because TikTok, the hashtag strategy is quite a bit different than it is on LinkedIn or Facebook or some of the other ones. And it actually came back with some different hashtags that it recommended for TikTok, which I found pretty interesting as well. So I think that, as it gets smarter and smarter, right? I think isn't ChatGPT coming out with another release that's literally going to 100x its capabilities later this quarter? As it gets smarter and smarter, I think the whole hashtag research thing and looking for, it's a very, very fast way of doing it, and you're going to find things that you would miss without it. So that's my first cool tool today is ChatGPT.
I'm going to add something on that too, Tom. And again, full disclosure, again, obviously my organization is very heavily involved there. But I'll tell you, like, this is a scenario where, I mean, within 2 months, Chat GPT has taken off and reached 100 million users. I saw a graph the other day that showed how long it took for multiple other platforms to get that. We're talking years, if not decades. So let's say that, and you'll continue to see evolutions and enhancements. But what I'm starting to see, even from people on my sales teams that are leveraging it to complement and augment the emails that they're sending to customers and to executives. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I honestly, I've used it a lot of times too, to, when I read my 5-year-old a story to go to sleep, I'll say, tell me a story, and I'll use her name and with unicorns and rainbows and fairies.
Oh, wow.
And it spits it out in 5 seconds and it puts her to sleep every time. It's incredible. So I will say that I think we'll continue to see ways that this is going to help us. And I love the use case that you just gave around hashtags. I mean, see, we're seeing this in real time, a new tool that we can explore and investigate and figure out how it can make us better sellers. And Amanda, I saw your comment. So yes, I can list the tools. I also just posted your name in the chat that I started a couple months ago, where I listed all these same tools. I made a post on LinkedIn about some of these that I'm going to talk about today, and I tagged you in that chat. So
and we'll take all of these and put them in the show notes so that we have them there for everybody once we're done here. So since I can't see the chat, Brandon or Carson, is there some recommendations coming from the chat that we should discuss before we go into the next round?
Yeah, I'd love for you to be able to figure that out, because you can't show them on screen. You're the host, so you're the only one that would be able to show them on screen. Yeah, and I don't know who this one is, LinkedIn user. I'm a fan of audiogram generated using Descript as a tool. As a podcaster, the audiogram is such a good way to keep people focused and engaged. I don't know what that one is. Jessica agreed with me on the phone. I agree with her, when I'm in line. Like, I mean, today I got my hair cut while I was waiting. I was on LinkedIn. I was responding to comments and just being able to catch up. Any ones on there, Carson, you see?
I got another one. I think this is my friend Bill that is posting about Canva and Microsoft Designer to help curate standout designs that you can leverage to catch the eyes of viewers on LinkedIn posts. I love that, because it's things that will embellish what a lot of us are going to put out as content, but it also can be done relatively quickly and, with ease, make your post stand out. So those are the main ones that jumped out to me.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to my phone real quick, because here's something I think everybody should know, and some people are going to get really uncomfortable with this, but push through the uncomfort. I heard in some of my groups that selfie pictures with something in our background was really getting a lot of play, lots of extra views. I have not been a selfie guy overall. I feel like it's egocentric and nobody needs to see my gray hair and big nose. Like, just
not pretty enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Your movie star looks.
But I started about 3, maybe 4 months ago now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do this. And I did a little selfie video, or a selfie picture at the airport, had the Delta plane in the back. I was talking about my trip, and my views went through the roof. And so I waited about 3 weeks. I did it again. I was on the sidewalk walking to a meeting, did another one, kind of talked. I mean, it didn't even matter what I was talking about. The selfie images, or images of you in an environment, the views are going through the roof. Now, this isn't just to be like, oh, look at my views, I'm popular, but our views help all of our other posts get put in front of more people in the newsfeed. So here's my encouragement to everybody: once a week, do a selfie picture, talk about something you've learned that week, something you're thinking about, something you're frustrated with. It doesn't matter. And tell me if your views don't go up, because that's what I've been seeing. And the reason I know this is working too is my next tool is the Shield app. I like Shield app. It's $16 a month. It's very easy dashboard, and I get to see my impressions or my views, my likes, my comments over a period of time from post to post. But the way that I use it is to see which posts, based on the content, my audience is engaging with the most. And so I know what to keep feeding people, because if they're engaging with it, it's obviously something that's adding value to them. So I keep doing, I use it for that reason. If you haven't seen it, it's shieldapp.ai. And like I said, it's 16 bucks a month, and I've got my LinkedIn account. That's all I use it for.
It's also a really good tool if you're going to repurpose, right? Because you can go back, something that you'd posted 3 months ago or 4 months ago, quickly see which of those was well received, and then reuse those or repurpose those. It's a good way to kind of see that history. I have a quick question though, Brandon. Are you seeing an uplift on reach on your other posts that are non-selfies? Do you see the selfies sort of carrying over into
Yeah.
their posts?
Yeah, I have. I've seen that overall, it just seems like my reach in a lot of my posts, it just gone up. And I do think so. Gosh, time wise, I can't remember everybody. I'm sorry, but it was like 5 or 6 months ago. All my reach just dropped. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did, but I was pretty consistently in like a 5 to 10,000 view range, and then all of a sudden I was just like 1,000. Like, okay, well, start over and just keep going. And I don't know. I think it was a LinkedIn algorithm of some sort, but I still knew from all that the trends of what my audience was engaging with, what they were appreciating. And it's really by looking at those trends. It's not that I've changed who I am or what I do for work or anything like that, but it really helps me know what my audience is really engaging with. And Tom, you and I talked about this. I've seen in the last several months, the engagement with my content has been older people. Like, I mean, it's really getting into kind of that 45 plus range, which is perfect because that's generally my target audience. So
Interesting.
lots of insights with
Yep.
Shield and little things like I'm not detailed oriented enough, everybody. So don't think I'm this total data nerd, but simple dashboards. I can see what's going on. I got, red drops, green's going up, and I can get quick glimpses and move on.
Sounds like a great suggestion. No, I use Shield app as well. It's great. It's a really good summary tool. All right, Carson, you're up.
So I concur with Brandon. I mean, knowing the LinkedIn algorithm helps a great deal. So that's a good one, and it changes from time to time. It definitely reacts and responds well to pictures, to graphs, specifically ones that are motivational or inspirational in theme, and also video. If you're able to post quick, 2-3 minute video directly into LinkedIn, that goes a long way. The next thing I would jump to, I'm going to use Databook. So I started using Databook about a year ago, and just from an enterprise sales perspective, the ability to go in, and I included this in my post actually not too long ago, and I got some really cool outreach from some folks at Databook because I tagged them in this. And so what I love about Databook is the ability to go out and look at any organization, customer organization, and being able to glean insights. It will extrapolate a lot of the, company reports and data. It will tell you, what's top of mind for that organization. Kind of give you a graph of some of the key words that jump out in their company reports. You can kind of see like, what are they talking about? Very quick hit, right? Like if I know that somebody's going to gravitate toward wanting to talk about data or AI or supply chain, I can show up with unique perspective and maybe use cases or stories that are going to fall into that realm. It'll tell you which executives you want to reach out to, when their fiscal year is, so when they're budgeting, et cetera. And if a company's not on there, you've got an option to click a toggle and interact directly with them. And I've had like same day where they've added a company to their repository. So that's been a great one for me.
That's cool.
Wow. And you use that in conjunction with what you're doing with Navigator, or kind of working those two together?
Absolutely. So like, I'll give you an example. Let's say we find out there's a competitive threat somewhere, or let's say we're not getting engagement from a customer organization. I think it's important to use all the tools. I don't discriminate against any of the tools when I'm kind of putting together a game plan. So I'll go to Databook to see like, okay, what's top of mind? It will also match some of our customer stories with what might resonate with them. And it will show you some of the things, them being mentioned in the news, and it'll show a lot of their key executives. I want to say about 6 months ago, we had a customer that was, we weren't as close to him as we needed to be. We didn't have the executive alignment that we needed. Went out to Databook, reached out to 30 folks that were on Databook, took a guess at their email because I knew some of the email addresses from other people that worked there. Got one reply. That's all I needed. It was somebody that told me they were working with a specific partner organization. I knew a lot of people at that partner organization. I reached out to them. I got a call set up within a day, figured out where we could invest with that partner organization. And flash forward several months later, we signed a big deal. And it wouldn't have happened without leveraging Databook and doing that level of outreach. So
it's like you said, it's kind of the 1 + 1 = 3, right? Taking them together and not discriminating and using the right tool, or if something else isn't working, moving to the tool that's going to help you get where you need to go.
that's it.
Well, you just brought up something about video, and I want to talk about another tool that I have found that I'm finding really, really interesting. It's called content fries, like French fries. And the premise of it is, take our video here, right? Take a show or a long form piece of content. You want to break that up quickly into snippets, right? Whether it's 1 minute snippets for shorts or 2 to 3 minutes for LinkedIn or whatever the case may be. Well, think about the old way you would typically do that. You'd put that in a video editor. You'd kind of go through, you try and find some things, break them apart. It's kind of clumsy. What Content Fries does is takes your long form video, transcribes it, and then allows you to look at the transcription for what are some of the hot or interesting conversations. You basically highlight the section of the transcription that you want to do. You hit transform, and it automatically creates a snippet of that video using the transcription aspect of what you want to put in there. So it takes,
that's cool.
I timed it the other day. I could actually go through and take a long form video and create new videos out of those in 4 minutes each, so that I could highlight it. And then you can tell it the format, like you want it to have like captions on it, or do you want a background on it, or vertical or square, or whatever the case may be. You can tell it that, and it'll automatically create those for you, and then put them in a library, which then you can download and repurpose. And that's why they call it content fries. Is the idea is you have a potato, which is your big content, your long form content, and then it turns it into fries that you can then post all over onto the other thing. Very reasonably priced. And if you're out on social media, you're going to probably see a lot more of us on social media here very soon, because there's going to be a lot more of those video snippets coming out and being out there. So really good repurposing tool.
That's cool, Tom. I didn't realize, you told me about Content Fries the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. You tell me about it later, but that's really awesome.
Yeah, I think I use Content Fries and CapCut. So kind of together, going back to Carson, those two tools together, I think, can really help accelerate your repurposing and your video editing, and getting, and as short videos are becoming more and more, short vertical videos, whether it's YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever, as those are becoming more popular and more strategic, really, as a way to create reach, it's, you want to be able to create videos and repurpose that makes sense for the platform. So when you're starting to do things on multiple platforms, it can get out of control pretty quickly. Those two tools really help you, get the right stuff for the right platform, the right captions, the right style, the right fonts. Because on TikTok, the buttons and things are in different places. So you want to make your videos as platform specific as you can to align with the characteristics of that platform.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right. So do we have any other suggestions from the audience, Brandon?
Well, I want to take, Jessica responded about, she got more impression views on a post with a picture of herself and her dog. And I'm going to try and, take advantage of it too. Here's Piper's hanging out with me. But yeah, and I'll say with that too, for everyone else, I did a picture. I'm glad she said that, Jessica. Thank you. Because I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I did a picture with me and our dog, and it was more of a leadership post, and I'm taking the dog out for a walk. I was busy, I was distracted, and I look back and the dog's just kind of like moping 5 feet behind me. And I put my phone away. I went over and I gave her some loves and pet her and everything. And then when we kept going on the walk, she's 5 feet ahead of me. And it was just this, moment of like, leadership, remembering like sometimes you just got to slow down and take the time and encourage your team because they need it. But it was a picture of me and the dog. And again, 6,000 views because of the dog. So, but the message was still there. Like, I like doing leadership messages. I like doing personal development messages, but I leverage the photo to get more reach. And here's a reason, if anyone's thinking like, it's not just about popularity. Reach is because the more people engage with it, the news feed, the algorithm will start showing it to our second and third connections. And it's a way for more people to meet us, discover us, and then they discover our show, and then we have more people watching the show. So it's not just to be popular. It's very strategic.
So what is, do we have anything else coming in from the chat that we should hit on before we do our final round here?
No, I don't see anything. Someone started using Grammarly. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grammarly is really good.
Good engagement overall. I know Mark pointed out resume worded helps sellers dramatically improve digital image in their LinkedIn profile. He asks who we think would score the highest between Tom, Brandon, and myself. That's a great question. I'm sure Mark will tell us.
Yeah.
What are we being scored on? What
digital image of your LinkedIn profile picture.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the score, Mark.
Yeah.
See what we can learn from it.
That's right. Yeah. Always learning. What can I do to improve? No, this is great. Great chat today.
Brandon, what do you got? So we got one more round here. Let's do another round.
Cool. Well, I'm going to say kind of a low tech tool, but I use it and I love it. And then the little self promotion, I'm going to recreate it in a new tool. But an Excel spreadsheet is a tool that I use as Carson talks about doing intel and being able to learn what's going on with companies. And what I found is one weakness, if you will, or one limitation of Navigator and LinkedIn is there's not an easy way to go and see my prospects post activity. So I can get notifications, I can turn on the bell, and if anybody posts, I'll see it. Or if anybody tags their company, I'll get a notification, I can go see it. But what about when our prospects are commenting on other posts? Those are great opportunities for us to organically get into their network. It's a great way for us to do intel, learn what are they talking about, what are they asking about, what do they share, everything from the personal side. The example I like to give, I saw doing this one time that somebody was a big golfer, and I had a reference point to connect with them on, right? You can learn a lot in there, and I would use an Excel spreadsheet to take their recent activity link. I put their name. Next field, I do their link, and then I have a notes field. And that way I can go in, and I used to use bookmarks, but then my bookmarks got too big and it was kind of annoying. But this way too, with Excel spreadsheets, I would put them in by day. Like, this is who I go on Monday, this is on Tuesday, and so forth. And then I have my notes, and I would just pop notes in there of things that I learned, or, oh, they commented on this, they're exploring this, whatever it may be. It's an Excel spreadsheet, simple, easy, low tech. And I will throw this out, my self promotion, everybody, it's coming. I decided actually to recreate that into a Chrome extension that will help take us to the right person on the right cadence, be able to take notes, be able to send messages. There's several other things there, but we're going to be beta testing that in about a week or so. So if anybody, you care and you want to, message me. I'll put you on the beta list. It's free. Be free forever. I have 5 children. Remember, I don't do things for free.
That's a dog and a cat.
Yep, true. But Yeah. So the purpose of that, though, is the Excel spreadsheet has been invaluable to me for consistently going to see what my prospects are doing. And last thing, I don't think I said it earlier, is the data shows that only 1% of LinkedIn users publish their own posts consistently, meaning an average of at least once a month, which means 99% of your prospects are not publishing regularly, which means if you're only waiting to see what they publish to gather intel, you're waiting too long. You're not getting anything. But the average LinkedIn user logs in, the average now I think is almost 4 days a week, something like that. So they're active, but they're not publishing. We can still glean a lot of information.
Yeah, for sure.
And join their network. Like go comment on things that they've commented on, or comment on their comments. What a great warm introduction.
So is the tool that you're building is going to be able to provide a bit more spotlight on the comments as well, and or provide a framework for that aspect of it?
Yeah, the clunkiness of Excel is I got to pull up my Google Sheet, and then it's a 2-click because you got to click it to highlight it, and then click the link, and then it sends me to LinkedIn. And then I go back and forth between tabs, and the tool is going to be a Chrome extension that just sits on top of LinkedIn. So I can write my notes. If I comment, it'll actually capture it in the extension, and then I can take my comment with a date timestamp, like a note, and automatically push it into CRM. So we can demonstrate to sales leaders that, hey, we're not just playing on LinkedIn. This is what we're strategically doing to position ourselves. Yep. And then there's a messaging aspect to it that we have, in fact, Tom, borrowing language off of your book, The Revenue Zone, and your bricks, that there's a messaging component, a cadence of messaging that we can send, or at least they're pre-done, but you can always personalize it and push a button and it'll send the direct message. No automation. I don't believe in automation for that. So you've got to actually manually do the work, but I think it's worth it because authenticity and humanity wins the day.
Put me on the beta. Put me on the beta list. I'm in.
Gotcha.
Carson, do you have a final tool recommendation?
Absolutely. First off, I think it's important to point out, so the answer to Mark's, the question that we tasked with Mark earlier around resume worded, and who has the best digital image in their LinkedIn profile of the three of us. Apparently it's me. I don't know how that happened, but I did want to.
I'd like to understand the criteria there. Can we get more?
And of course, Carson brought it up to highlight it and tell everybody who won.
Yeah, the system doesn't lie. I wouldn't have said anything if it hadn't been me. I love that Brandon highlighted the value of Excel. Something about me, like I've gamified sales to a degree. I'm not that smart. I'm really just resourceful, and I focus a lot on relationships. So I really map out, like, okay, do we have the right executive relationships that we need? Do we know all the resources at our disposal? And what are the plays that that we're trying to execute, and really just trying to run that. And you've got to gravitate toward low hanging fruit. It's all about probability. Brandon, you pointed out something really astute. There's not a lot of our prospects that are necessarily posting. However, if there are some that are actively engaged, which Sales Navigator can tell me, I can go in and look for prospects that have posted within the last 30 days. We know they're going to be a little bit more engaged. Probability of getting them to connect, respond, all of those types of things is higher. So that's where you want to spend a lot of your time. And I believe in arming myself with intelligence. So I'm going to rattle off a few different things here as kind of my last gasp on this podcast. But I'm a big believer in setting up email alerts. Google, Bing, wherever you want to go, set up an email alert for your customers, for your prospects, for your industry, whatever you're targeting. I get them daily, and they tell me a lot of different intelligence about new executives, M&A activity, a new product that they're bringing to market, whatever it is. These are things that are actionable intelligence. Industry trade magazines. I work in healthcare, so I subscribe to Becker's Healthcare IT. I would imagine in whatever industry you're selling it to, there are there are industry trade magazines. Business journals. I've gotten a lot of really good intelligence subscribing to business journals, events, executive news, whatever it is. So whatever you need to know to show up with unique, valuable perspective, go out and subscribe to that today, and just get that into your feed, get that into your email inbox every day, because that stuff will give you things that you can action each and every day. The other thing, last thing I want to point out, I would imagine a lot of us, we work in organizations where maybe there's some type of marketing lead or some type of intelligence. Likely you get some kind of information or leads from marketing. But I think like anybody, look, as a seller, it's easy for me to reach out onesie, twosie to some of these leads and just go for the room. And so I think a lot of times we ignore these leads. We may get them, but we don't do anything actionable with them. So what actually I started doing was I took a lot of these leads, and in the spirit of building a community around them, that's where I would leverage newsletters and creating my own webinars or whatever it was, community events. Build a community around what you do. Take these leads and don't just reach out to them once and give up. I was reading the stat today. I think it was like 80% of prospects need to be reached out to at least 5 times before they'll reply. So if you do that consistently over time, I mean, one of my best deals that I ever closed, it took me 3 years to get done. Year 1, they wouldn't even give me the time of day, but I kept sending them newsletters, inviting them to events. Those types of things work. So marketing leads, anything that has a higher probability, because you already know if they're a marketing lead, they've engaged with something, the probability that they will take the meeting goes up. So think about some of that lower hanging fruit as you put together your social selling strategy.
I like I like some of the analog stuff you're talking about, like, subscribe to the Business Journal or read the Wall Street Journal or whatever it is, right? Old school ways, but a lot of good insights at the same time. And use Chat GPT, ask them. I mean, you can get a lot of insights out of that as well.
Yeah. And it goes back to, I mean, I think the thing the three of us say a lot is, sales is still it's a contact sport. You got to get in there and get dirty. And there's so many tools out there now that promise like easy and fast and all this stuff, but good old fashioned, I mean, no, getting those search or the Google alerts that bring you in and stuff. The other thing it does is you're actually reading information. It's equipping you and educating you so you're prepared for future conversations, because a sale really comes in a conversation. And so if it's not up here somewhere, you're using tools that do certain things, but you don't have it in you, then you miss out on the opportunity to share value in conversation.
Totally.
And before we're done, we got to go back to find out from Mark, how, Carson kicked our booties in the resume, whatever the tool is called, the resume.
I can't see the chat and I don't buy it. So
yeah, Mark said I'm an 89 out of 100. And so there you
Tom,
go.
you and I didn't break 40. It's pretty much what it's. Yeah.
Sounds just like my college days. There's always somebody.
I thought 89 was my golf score, not
on the first 6 or the first 9. Sorry.
Never quite that level. No.
So I got one more tool to wrap up here, and it is also a little self-promoting, but
Carson, can you hear Tom?
I lost Tom. He said he was going to. I
lost Tom too.
He said he was going to self-promote, and then he went off the grid.
I know.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. So yeah, I guess it shut me down when I said self-promote. It's like no pitch slapping on this show. So, but as you know, I'm a co-founder in a CRM company. And one of the things we've been working on, which I think will fit in beautifully with what you're talking about, Brandon, with what you're doing, is if you think about social selling, it's not only knowing the journey or tracking the journey that you're going down with a prospect, like you said, Carson, but knowing where to go next. Like what step do I take, right? Okay, where should I go next? What should be the next interaction? What should I share with them? So we're building a lot of stuff into our product, Lead Smart, so that we can take information as we're moving through the social selling journey, but then also provide guidance and recommendation as to where to go next and have that at a consistent level at scale. And I think, CRMs have historically been tracking what you've already done. I think that's sort of the old school way of CRM. I think the new way of CRM, whether it's us or any CRM you're using, is looking at how you use that CRM to provide guidance of where you should go versus just where you've been. And that also kind of ties in a little bit to the world of AI. But I really believe, we want to get smarter and more efficient about where we're going, what communication, what we're sharing. And then Brandon, that ties into the whole yellow brick road and everything that we're doing there. So kind of smart CRM is where I'm seeing, I think will be the next really important tool in this whole social selling space. And that's my shameless plug for today.
I can't let Butch down, so I do want to say that it all builds around information. And as we know from Gordon Gekko and Wall Street, information is still the greatest commodity. So anywhere you can get information, sales tools, using AI to kind of augment your sales skills with information that can be easily obtained, that's what it's all about. And that's how we show up with unique, valuable perspective with our prospects. That's also how we can get actionable insights. So build your strategy around arming yourself with information and giving yourself the best probability to open doors and create relationships. That's what social selling is all about.
Yep. All right. Any final
That's
thoughts
cool.
or comments from there's been some good stuff today.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark keeps talking about, how wonderful my digital score is. He's offered to help you guys though. So there is help on the way.
We need it. Thank you.
We got to connect with Mark. Jessica also great final thought here. Said Kendall, really a big part of the tech selling toolbox, reading, keeping up with trends, best practices. I love that so much. And there's so much on your Kindle that you can subscribe to, different subscriptions of like, USA Today, Tom, you mentioned the Journal. I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal about a year ago. It's like, it's a daily thing. I'm interacting with these things a lot of times on my phone. So all of these things that we talked about today, I think they all fuel one another. But Jessica, that's a great call out.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, we had some great stuff today, everybody. And those listening to the podcast, you ever want to join us on the LinkedIn Live, go 3:30 Eastern on Wednesdays. But yeah, Jessica and Mark, and there's several LinkedIn users. Sorry, I don't have your name. David and Jonathan early on helped us because we're old and we couldn't remember Progressive Insurance.
Yep. And Bill was the LinkedIn user.
Got it. Bill and Butch. Butch made sure we didn't get off. We didn't close out
today.
Oh. Yeah, awesome.
And Brandon, we have speaking of Bill, we have a pretty cool guest coming up next week, right? Bill McCormick's joining us, right? Next week.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is next week.
Yeah.
Bill's like salt of the earth kind of guy. Like if you guys don't know Bill, go get to know Bill. He'll make you a better human just by talking to him.
Yeah. Totally. So that's next week. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you. Thanks everybody who participated. I'm glad to see that I won the profile contest, despite what Carson wants to think. So, but have a great week, and we'll see you next week. And
until next time, happy social selling.